Ah, it's recording. About 3 years ago, I wrote a novel. I wouldn't really call it a science fiction novel. It's more of a Twilight Zone novel called The Black Rock Redemption, also known as All Is New Black Rock. Different names because they're different versions, which doesn't really hurt the concept of it because they dealt with parallel universes. It was about a Muslim who goes off into the Black Rock Desert to test a bomb he made so he can later make another one like it and set off a car bomb. He set himself off in a car bomb in a Reno casino. And in the process, he meets Alla. But anyway, he meets Alla before that happens in the Black Rock, on the Black Rock Desert. And what happens is it's kind of like Groundhog Day, but instead of going to sleep and waking up in another to start the whole thing over again, when he dies, he wakes up and finds himself in a reality that's kind of like the other one, but different. Like for instance, in one of those realities, he has a girlfriend, and the other, his girlfriend is like a stranger to him, and towns aren't there, so it's big differences actually sometimes like that. But anyway, I think when I wrote that, it's like a lot like the Mandela effect. I don't know about about the Mandela effect, but it was named after Mandela because in 1991, a lot of people heard that Mandela died in prison. Now, and then there was a big ceremony, everything for him. But for me, he didn't die in prison. And I think most people believe he didn't. Heard he didn't die in prison, because I remember him talking about "dop people." Yeah, he called people "dop people," "dop people," And so, yeah. So in my reality, he didn't die. But in some, they heard he did die, and so that's how this became the Mandela effect. But anyway, it seems like the Mandela effect might be real. For most of us, we heard the Snow White thing saying "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all." Now it's magic mirror on the wall, who's So things are different. And for the longest time, I heard it was called Plaster Paris. But even my friend next door said he heard it as Plaster Paris. Now it's Plaster of Paris. Where I didn't know it was Plaster of Paris until like 2 years ago. So I told my parents about it. I said, yeah, all this time I heard it was Plaster Paris, and even the next door neighbor who's 72 said, yeah, it's Plaster Paris, and they said, no, it's always been Plaster of Paris, and they were serious, And anyway, there was this girl. I can't say it was a girl. She was 39. She's 39. I was working for her recently, a few months ago, and working on her house. And anyway, she told my boss that She told him that I told a neighbor that was living in the house. And not only was I living in the house, I let him in to walk around and stuff. Well, guess what? That never happened. I never told anyone I was living in that house. I was sitting for that house. And I never let anyone into the house. They told me not to let anyone in the house. So, but who knows? Maybe in another universe I did say that, like she said, because she swears that I told someone that was living in her house, not working on it, but living in it, and that I let the person in going against the rules. swears that I did that, and I swear I didn't do it. You know. So weird things. I'll tell you another time that seemed like a Mandela effect, and it happened with my mom and my dad different times. Looking both ways before turning onto another street and almost getting hit by a car, like the car just came out of nowhere. You know, that seems to be a Mandela effect. Yeah. And today I thought I had my phone, and I remember turning it off and putting it away. Then I went to a cafe and was writing on my latest novel. Then I went to a call, couldn't find the phone. I come home, it's where I usually have it, but I remember turning it off down there on down. You know, it's like, wait a minute, am I going nuts or something, or is it the Mandela effect? Another time, my wallet disappeared. Now for 2 weeks, and so I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to renew my license so I can drive, and I tried to renew it, but in the process, I lost my trucker license. Yeah, I had to get a Class C instead of Class A, and my dad and myself, I thought maybe that maybe my cousin took it. You know, we didn't see him take it, but well, anyway, 2 weeks later, it appeared in the place we were looking for it. Not only did it appear, but the money that was with it appeared with it, but it was not in the wallet, it was outside the wallet. And we thought maybe my cousin returned it without us knowing. He tried to return it in such a way where it wouldn't we wouldn't get suspicious by putting it in my grandmother's room, you know. And he swears he didn't take my wallet. And well, it was during the time my dad was losing it, and I thought maybe my dad framed him, but my dad swears he didn't take my wallet either. And yet we looked into that place and never saw it. But then 2 weeks later, it appears. And it's like, you know, who do I believe? My dad or my cousin? You know, it was just crazy. But I'm wondering if that's the Mandela effect. So anyway, if it is, then it seems to me that there's like a shift in universes that we go into, and since my parents don't know, they thought plaster Paris was plaster, has always been plaster of Paris. And if that's true, and they're telling the truth, and I am my friend next door has always heard it as plaster Paris, not plaster of Paris. Well, I talked to some millennials ago. Is it plaster of Paris or plaster Paris? And they never heard of either. So anyway, weird stuff. So yeah, since my parents didn't hear it as plaster Paris, but plaster of Paris, are they really my parents? Yeah. Well, I know they are, but are they? Maybe I'm from another universe, a universe that they weren't in. You know, I don't know. Strange, crazy. You can start thinking crazy stuff here, but